Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before we get started, I just met a gentleman, Perry Alexandres. Do I pronounce your name right?
Alexandritis.
Alexandritis, must be a Greek thing.
Yes.
Why don't you come up and introduce yourself? He's from the Secretary of State's office. He wanted to meet each of the commissioners.
Sure. My name is Perry Alexandritis. I'm the Northeast Regional Liaison with the Ohio Secretary of State, John Houston. Just wanted to come and introduce myself, give you guys each a card, and let you know that if you ever have any questions or need anything from me, you can give me a call. My office, cell phone, and personal phone are both on there. Okay. If you have any questions right now, I'd be happy to answer.
Well, for me, you caught me off guard, so I would have brought my list with me. I have a list.
A list, okay.
Now, where you're located up here?
Actually, in Youngstown.
In Youngstown.
I cover the 8 counties in Northeast Ohio, so everything from Columbiana up to Ashtabula and Starkey to Lacey.
Now, I've never seen a representative from the Secretary of State out and about. Normally, I have to call, beg, camp out in the front lobby, that kind of stuff, so it's kind of refreshing that there's a representative in the field.
I've actually been here once before. I attend your Board of Election meetings when they came to set up their election revenue fund, or asked to set that up. I was here with them as well.
Okay, yeah.
So.
Very good. Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the contact. Yep.
Okay. So, Commissioner Office requesting the board to approve.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of March 10th, 2015.
Second.
Commissioner Reer?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Abstain.
Commissioner
Financials?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's almost like we're
Just
programmed.
Just crushing
Financials today include a revenue decertification for the Board of DD Residential Services Fund, an appropriation transfer from the Juvenile Court to move appropriations for the appointed counsel fees to be paid by the Commissioner's Office, and also from the Contingency Fund to return appropriations to the Sheriff's Office for some web check expenses that were reimbursed to them and deposited into the General Fund. Cash transfer out of the General Fund for the local match portion of reimbursement number 5 for the FAA grant 33900541714. Purchase order for Coursera International Incorporated for aerial mapping for the Chardon Township Penning Drive Sewer Project in the amount of $18,900. Travel request for the Office of Community and Economic Development, Department of Job and Family Services, the Juvenile Court, and the Recorder's Office. Payment to InterSource Corporation for the annual Internet Security Contract for the 85th Department in the amount of $16,406.25, and payments to Envirocom Construction for pay request number 8 for contracts A and B for the Department of Water Resources, Thompson Township Sewer Project totaling $185,342.62.
And I suggested on this Coursera Water Department aerial mapping, Ralph, that you would fly your helicopter and I'd take photos. I get a 35, we'd save a lot of money in the process. So.
Yeah, but then you're going to have to get some clay to make that scaled topographic map. You're going to.
Whatever. Okay, so we have a motion.
Go ahead.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute resolution number 15-033, itemizing the financials for the meeting of March 24th, 2015.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Reer?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye.
Commissioner Clayton?
Aye. I just want to move on beyond that reading part, Jessica, you all ready?
Yep. Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Judge.
Good to have some sunshine, isn't it?
Oh my God.
You just have some heat to go with it.
You know what? I'm going to count one blessing at a time. I'll take the sunshine. The first thing is we are really excited. We found our candidate for our home delivered meals and volunteer coordinator.
It was a pleasure interviewing all of the candidates. We had a panel, some advisory board members, as well as some of my administrative staff. And we'd like to move forward with hiring Kristen Bibby. She's currently the Director of Therapeutic Recreation and the Volunteer Coordinator at Kindred in the Painesville area. She has over 7 years experience working with seniors, a background in writing policy and procedures as well. So we are really excited.
This is Mary Ann's replacement.
It's Mary Ann's replacement, but we did change the job ever so slightly. So now this person is inheriting all the administrative tasks of the volunteer coordinator. Bill Phillips, who is the present volunteer specialist, his job, we're looking to tailor that to make him more of a community outreach, doing more of the recruitment for volunteers, marketing in the community, and share some of our programs with different players in the community. So we wanted to add some of the administrative tasks of the volunteer job to this position because they deal with over 95 volunteers a week for home delivered meals alone.
Okay.
Thank you.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve hiring Kristen Bibby to the position of home delivered meals and volunteer coordinator number 1010 to be effective April 6, 2015 at a rate of $16.94 per hour. After the successful completion of a 180-day probationary period, the rate will increase to $17.83 per hour.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
All right, the next is I'm just looking for an extension for our probationary period for Ms. O'Reilly.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve with consent of the employee per section 2.6 probationary period of the Geauga County Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual to extend the probationary period of Becky O'Reilly, site coordinator, an additional 60 days ending May 20th, 2015.
So move.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Spudler? Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Thank
Very
you.
much. Have a good day.
Jessica. Bye-bye.
Morning, Mike.
Morning. There's a little tan left there.
What's that?
Little tan.
Yeah, they got strange stuff in Florida called fun.
Sun.
I thought you were involved in that.
You brought some of that back with you?
Yeah. Not the 89-degree temperature.
Did you do some fishing while you were down there?
No, unfortunately, didn't have enough time.
It was laying in the sun.
Used to go fishing down here. Worked on a commercial fishing boat
Oh, really?
for a while, so.
Yeah, that'd be a cool thing to do.
But, no, this is my annual trip over here for contracts for commercial plans exam. Basically, we got 3 architects with a contract with the commercial plan review according to the Board of Building Standards, and this is just to renew their contract. The only thing that changed from the original contract was the pay was bumped up this time. The last time they had a pay bump was in 2006, 2005, somewhere around there, so, which is still cheaper than most of the surrounding areas. So, we have 3 of them. That way, somebody goes on vacation, we're not holding somebody up on commercial plans exam.
All 3 of these at the same, read them all and vote once.
Good idea.
The building department is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with James R. Duber Architect to perform architectural reviews for commercial and industrial structures for the period March 31st, 2015 through March 31st, 2016 at a rate of $80 per hour. The building department is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with Richard J. Smith Architect to perform architectural reviews for commercial and industrial structures for the period March 31st, 2015 through March 31st, 2016 at a rate of $80 per hour. The building department is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with L. Neil Hoffman Architect to perform architectural reviews for commercial and industrial structures for the period March 31st, 2015 through March 31st, 2016 at a rate of $80 per hour.
I'll make those motions.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Do you want for you?
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Seeing you.
So it's good to get a contract. right?
Yes, it is.
You could have
There's
done that stuff
there's
for
3
you.
Okay,
sets
perfect.
for each one of them. And then you take one.
Morning, Anita.
Hi, Anita.
everybody.
How are you?
Yeah, so one of you each.
Everybody good? Let me stay
Yeah,
alive.
yeah.
Sunny.
All 3 of you.
I don't worry. No, it's not.
Oh, cool. I didn't pick up on it. I didn't get the memo on it.
You probably are familiar with the area, but that's what the sublots look like, and that's what the aerial looks like.
Okay.
Can't really, you can sort of make it
Okay,
how it
yep.
lays on the land. But- Well, this is the final step of the process for creating a CRA zone apartment. We will take the package and send it to the state. The state will review it and send us back a piece of paper with a certificate number on it. At that point, we can accept applications from businesses interested in locating there, building there. And then that will come before the committee and for approval and determination of rate of return. So you'll be the first to know if you get an application.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I think it's just what that area desperately needs, so.
Do we have anybody that's, I mean,
We have
obviously.
one that might be, that's trying to lay out their plan, their
Mhm.
options, and one of it could be this location. There's nothing
Yeah,
in
nothing in
place,
writing or
yeah.
anything like that,
But
it's just,
Once the interest was there, that finally 422 is becoming a place, you know, that they're willing to look beyond certain things because of location is finally.
Sure.
We've been waiting for this for a long time, so we really hope that this might trigger bigger things.
Well, that's a great area out there. There's the
It's-
river and all that kind of stuff is out
Yeah,
there. It's really
right to
nice.
Warren, right
Yeah.
to.
It's on a
Yeah.
major artery.
the field of dreams.
Yeah, there's a couple of you have driven that on a daily basis.
You know, they got Blazing Bills is out there, they got some great
I know,
barbecue in the
good riddance.
neighborhood, so.
So that's like a field of dreams. If we provide it, they might come.
Yeah, there you go.
If we don't provide it, they ain't gonna show up.
Yeah, you have to help them a little, especially to launch it.
Yeah.
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the Ohio Development Services Agency Ohio Community Reinvestment Area Program petition for area certification to create a CRA zone in Parkman Township.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anita, do you want to take this back to the?
Yeah, I will,
Yep.
yeah.
I appreciate that. Yep.
And I want to mention before Anita leaves,
Yes.
that she really does good work. I mean, a lot of this is due to her diligence and this kind of thing, and she does not seem to. She kept us all in line as we were trying to work through this.
Oh, thank you so much.
You take
Well
this.
done. Ooh, I'm like,
Right, those are your contracts in the building department. They just-
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this isn't her deal, okay.
Yeah, only,
Hey, good morning, how are you?
Second.
Good, good.
Can you picture this is, right here.
We're asking you to announce the following new hires. We have 3 new folks that we're very excited about. We have 2 eligibility specialists, 2 and 1 social service worker. They're all replacement positions. Kara Harrison comes to us with a bachelor's in education from Bowling Green. Worked as a Latin teacher for 2 years at high school in Toledo, and then was a property preservation specialist for over 2 years at Safeguard Properties. And the other eligibility specialist person, Terry Couch, is in the process of pursuing an associate's degree at Lakeland. Worked as a mortgage originator at Bank of America for 6 years, and also at Punderson Manor as their front desk attendant for 8 years. And then Cassie or Cassandra Swafield, our social service worker, also replacement position, with a bachelor's in psych from the University of Toledo, and also a master's in criminal justice from Tiffin University. She worked for over a year and a half at the Geauga Youth Center as a youth care worker, and also worked 9 months as a treatment specialist at Applewood. So we're excited to have her for them.
The Department of Job and Family Services is requesting the board acknowledge the following new hire appointments by the Director of Job and Family Services as they have complied with the Board of Commissioners recruitment and hiring procedures. Kara Harrison, eligibility specialist 2, replacement effective February 17, 2015. Cassandra Swafield, social services worker 2, replacement effective February 17, 2015. And Terry Couch, eligibility specialist 2, replacement effective February 17, 2015.
Make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, have a good day.
Morning, Scott, how are you?
With me, both copies of the ORC. in case you guys are interested in seeing what the changes were.
Excited readings.
Good.
The first item we got here is there was a change in the ORC as it relates to concealed handgun licensing. They're freeing up some of those funds so we can spend them on other things. Part of that statute says that it's got to be with the permission of the commissioners, so that's what we're here for.
So, on that, I know that I had talked to the sheriff regarding that, because that fund has continued to grow with limited use, you know, so what did they free up now? What can you use it for?
Well, it says that you can use it for firearms safety education programs, firearms training, or qualifications. And across the state, they're trying to get an opinion of whether they can actually buy firearms with that money.
Okay.
They don't have it, but as far as our prosecutors are concerned, we can use it for range and supplies and that kind of stuff.
Oh, nice.
So, I mean, we already use it for the supplies for the machine and the, you know, the cards and all that stuff costs money.
Yeah.
But now they're freeing it up so we can use it for a little more training, some range training, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So training and range training, I mean, handgun training is usually at the cost of a citizen. So what are we thinking? Don't you have a concealed carry?
No, I don't need one.
I'm a little confused at the fund. How much money is in the fund right now?
It's close to about 100,000 right now.
Probably.
I mean, the way that the law is written, it really has their hands tied, because it's basically it's strictly for like what he said. It's stuff that they're doing already. You know, the lock programs are free to begin with. There's just a lot of those things, but now with this, it's hopefully going to give them the ability to being able to use those funds for something that won't burden some of the other cash that's out there. If they could use it more towards their training and if they wanted to send an officer to a class for instruction, or you know, just a lot of the different stuff and material. Whereas before, basically, that money just sat there and it's just going towards, you know,
Couldn't spend it on that.
yeah, couldn't really spend it on anything. And it's not to, the people have a certain fee that they pay to $45 or something to come in for the permit, but at the end of the day, it makes sense to free these up, because it's almost like you're gonna get to a point where what do you do with it?
Well, and they pay $45, and I think 30 of that goes to the state.
Yeah.
And we keep 15, and then we can use that money to pay the employee that does it, the supplies, but now maybe we can buy some ammunition, some targets, some duty ammo, practice ammo,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, that's good.
And if you buy it now, it's coming out of where?
It's coming
Out of the
general fund, yeah.
But we're hoping that maybe we can do some more than what we have been. Because, you know, it's important, you gotta stay on top of it.
I'd like to follow up and get educated a little bit more on the kinds of things you're thinking about using this fund for. So if you get a chance, why don't you either stay over and/or we'll make plans to get together or something. I'd like to talk to you about that. So, thanks.
The Sheriff's Office is requesting the Board acknowledge changes to ORC 311.42B effective March 23rd, 2015 in regards to the Sheriff's Office Concealed Handgun License Issuance Fund that allows for expanded use of concealed handgun license fees to defray costs associated with firearm safety education programs, firearm training, or qualification programs.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
The next item is, you've seen this twice already, this is the final document for this grant for 2 more MDTs for computers for the cars. We're trying to get as many of these replaced as we can in these grants. So this is 2 more, and we're continuing with the process. We did find out, we have the automatic license plate readers on the cars. They came out to upgrade those the other day, and they couldn't upgrade them because they won't work with XP, so they gotta have Windows 7 or they're gonna stop working. So it's continuing. More and more things aren't working with the older technology, so we've got to keep moving forward on this.
Pretty soon you're gonna have a desktop in the trunk.
Yeah, but it'll be small.
Yeah, the size of a phone.
It is, it's always changing.
The Sheriff's Office is requesting the Board approve and authorize the President of the Board to execute the Ohio Criminal Justice Services Subgrant Award Agreement, JLE 2014 JGLE 5108 for MDT replacement in the amount of $7,535.20, $6,781.68 from the Office of Criminal Justice Services, $753.52 local match from the Sheriff's Law Enforcement Trust. This grant is for the period February 1st, 2015 through August 31st, 2015.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks.
Skip, I got a question for Scott. How often do the deputies and your entire force take mandatory training as far as the range is concerned?
For firearms?
Yeah, firearms.
It's only required to qualify once a year, but that's really not enough. I mean,
Yeah.
we do it, we usually start in May and offer the range training once a month. So sometimes it'll be handgun, sometimes it'll be rifle, sometimes it'll be shotgun. So we do it each month through the summer months. So
Okay,
it's
thank you.
probably 6-7 times.
Thank
The
you very much.
biggest expense to that is overtime.
Yeah,
You know, so we try to do it over 2 shifts, and we need the daylight,
yeah.
so we don't have that.
Too bad you don't have an in-house range indoor.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, and if the crooks don't go out at night.
So,
Not
with guns.
Thanks,
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks.
Okay.
And this is a copy of the report. Go over
Are we gonna go through this page by page, is that the deal?
the 91 pages.
Just to let everybody know, we're going to a 95-page document, it'll be about.
Feel your nice.
Zero signature on it, so.
No presentations or anything?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Well, this is all my, this is all my stuff, so I know why I have what I have where. So what you have in front of you is the annual report is we put together every year. It has to be submitted to the state by EPA by April 1st. This is a requirement of all the minimum control measures that must be accomplished because Geauga County, Chester, Bainbridge, and Russell Township are MS4 communities as well as the county. And there's a sequence of 6 minimum control measures that need to be done, and we have to report on what we've done to achieve those things. They give us the report form that we have to fill out, is what you have there, and then there's some supplemental documentation to back it up. There's the education, minimum control measures 1 and 2 are education pieces, public involvement, report on the items that were done. This includes education programs for adults, as well as school programs, scout programs, news releases, website information, articles, all type of educational pieces. That's 1 and 2. 3 is basically the illicit discharge detection and elimination, and that's basically any discharges going into any roadside ditch for the county. It's really any storm sewer, but we don't have as many storm sewers. Our storm sewers are roadside ditches.
Right.
So the good thing is our ditches cure a lot of roads too, because we have the soil that absorbs a lot too. Minimum control measures 4 and 5 are the construction component, so all construction activities that go on, plan reviews, construction site inspections. We have been doing that and it worked out nice because we can just report on what we have. So we have a tracking program that tracks all that, and that's some of the supplemental information in the back. And then the number 5 is post-construction, so that is the detention basins. We require stormwater quality and quality for the EPA. Quantity is something that we've always done also, but that anything built after 2003, we have to monitor every year, make sure it's still functioning, it's not clogged, it's not broken, somebody can decide to fill it in, you know, whatever those cases may be. So we monitor those once a year.
So would that be like an example of that?
Sometimes we get, we've had stormwater basin where the outlet structure, which is a catch basin, the catch basin box,
Okay.
maybe it's fallen apart,
the grade is missing, it's started to crumble. Sometimes if there's a weir structure,
Okay.
there's cutaway on the side of the weir, so the ground is actually lower, it's supposed to be flush to the top. Sometimes we need them to repair that. Little issues like that, little things, or maybe the rock channel is eroded away, it needs to be repaired, various things like that. Or in some severe instances, the basin is gone. Somebody decided to just fill it in and get rid of it without notifying anyone.
So like with that, after 2000, after 2000, anything built after 2000?
Well, actually, yeah, we monitor all of them. In Geauga County, we've got almost 400, so 500
Okay.
basins. So we actually do all of the basins in Geauga County every 3 years rotation. But the ones that were because of phase 2 requirements, we do those every year because that's the requirement that we look at those every year.
I see.
So those are the townships of Bainbridge, Chester, Russell.
Russell, okay.
So we do those. And then the last item is the good housekeeping of your facilities. So that would be road garages for those townships and the county, making sure, just taking care of spills appropriately, training. The county engineer puts on a safety day training in the spring, and we've kind of piggybacked on that with them and done a MS4 pollution prevention, good housekeeping video training that the participants get as part of their safety day training. So the townships are all invited to that, and they get their training, and they get that required once a year training through that. And we offer other things. We have a BMP manual, best management practice manual for road workers that we're just about finished with right now. We're just doing the final edits. The draft is completed. But it's basically a handbook. There's a manual on how to do these practices, this big. A road worker's not gonna look at that.
Right.
These guys don't really care about this stuff. We want something quick in hand. If they're not sure about something, they can look at it. So we're gonna give a quick guide, and that was one of the advice from the EPA when Bainbridge Township had their audit. They said it would be nice if the Glade Farms had something like this. So we put that.
What is your opinion, how is the county going with like the EPA issues, and I mean, are you feeling some pressure on your side of more control and?
We're trying to get our residents, our landowners, to the best and easiest way to comply. Our goal is for compliance. I don't want to go after people. I don't want to hit them with fines. I don't want to hit them with fines or anything else like that. Easiest thing is we get them ahead of the game. This is what you need to do. If you take care of it in the beginning, we won't need to deal with it. We won't need to see it, and the EPA won't be on your back. A lot of times when the EPA will come out, things can be a little more not as logical. The requirements that they might want. We're working with these people on a regular basis, day in and day out, week to week. We know that the construction site changes very rapidly during the course of the construction. EPA might be out once every 3 months. They'll see it one day, and that day something may have occurred or it's changed in a week. It's nothing like what that looks like when the report comes out.
I see.
So I mean, we're generally doing okay. It's hard because there's a lot going on, and to be completely honest, this spring, I call it spring, early winter or late winter, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe. There's a lot of construction starting to occur. It's like things are really starting to pick up from the last how many years. It's been a slow rise, but since it dropped off, this is probably the heaviest we've seen in a while. So I mean, there's a lot going on, which is a good thing. Construction is booming and Geauga County is doing well. So we'd like to keep doing what we're doing so that we keep the state agencies happy and they're not breathing down our throat as much. So
Nice.
that's our goal, is just to keep, we do it the right way and they aren't chasing us down as much.
Okay.
That's the quick synopsis of the
So
report.
you're familiar with the new septic system rules? Are you involved with that or aware of it?
I'm aware of that, but we don't do anything with septics. The only thing that will come into play would be the minimal control measure number 3, which is the illicit discharge detection elimination. If there's anything running in the roadside ditches, after it hasn't rained for 72 hours, if there's water running in the ditch, there's something that's going in the ditch that shouldn't be going in the ditch. Now, there are some cases where it might be a field tile or a groundwater seepage. That we have a lot of that. So we look at it. We have had a list of items that came up as flagged. Is there something running? Water Resources did some testing on all those. We've come up with a list of what had high fecal coliform counts that exceeded what the health department's standard was. And I think Joe Cattell looked at those one more time and sent a list over to the health department to pursue and find out what's going on there. The inclusion of the new rules would be if they had to upgrade, what that would mean. And I don't know how that's all gonna play out. There's a lot going on with that yet.
There is, and how attached are you to NOAC that was doing master planning for water quality and air quality?
I just, if they contact me for my input, but I haven't been involved with that. I've got too much on my plate to do this.
I'm gonna get you a couple of presentations that they recently made at the NOAC meeting, having to do with water quality, because it is right in your wheelhouse. And
they wanted me to be part of, there is a water quality task force or something.
there was a water quality task force.
They wanted me to be part of that, but
The EPA was in there making a presentation. I actually have a tape recording of the meeting. I asked Linda Braheny to go so that the dynamics of the conversation didn't change, because if I was in the room, sometimes the dynamics of the conversation changes. So in addition to that, they're doing a salt study. And you should see the salt analysis that they've done, some of which I think is questionable science. Actually, some of it looked good to me, but some of it looked like questionable science to me. And so, but you should be aware of it, because they're proposing or talking about new rules that they would put upon our road departments in the application of salt. We just are getting ready to spend a lot of money on a salt building. They might want to eliminate the salt building. So it's something you should be at least aware of. I mean, I'm using.
On that topic, it's kind of, there's some unique things that are going on within the county. I know the county engineer is doing some things, some of the townships using the brine, actually using less salt doing that, so.
Do we use computerized salt application?
Each truck is capable of metering and actually is calibrated every year for the amount of salt that not Penguins, they're Rexroth computerized units that are based on wheel speed travel. So it's not just an on-off switch dumping salt. It's actually a metered flow based on how many pounds per mile.
They were talking about phenomenal savings on salt, like 70%.
I've noticed in the report from this year to last year, the county's use has drastically dropped.
And so, I mean, it's something to make you aware of. I'm just bringing it up because where they're going, it is EPA. It is part of, what was the organization? The EPA actually put the Northeast Ohio 4-county sewer district in charge of doing some studies. Now
regional sewer district?
That's primarily Akron, but the studies that they did are rolling through NOAC to become part of the master plan, which will impact us. And so, at least based on what I was able to determine.
Typically, those are guidelines, but it'd be good to know what, there are guidelines of things you could do, but I don't know if they actually are. Are you saying it's something, it's a must?
Is your experience with EPA rules that they're
Oh, this is EPA, I'm talking about NOAC, I'm talking about NOAC.
Yeah, no.
Guidance stuff.
Yeah, you and I can have a sidebar conversation where we're not wasting everybody's time on NOAC and what they call guidelines that you're being enforced by the EPA and other organizations. So, but with that said, I'm making you just aware of that, and I've got some presentations that you should probably at least see from an awareness standpoint, because it looks like it's going to impact your world now. We'll see where that goes, and oftentimes we'll get our legislators involved to make sure that
they're looking at salt concentrations in an area that's storm sewered. Common sense is going to tell you that it's going to be far higher parts per million or whatever than it would be in an environment like we have, where we have roadside ditches and the salt that's here gets put in a ditch here. It doesn't all dissolve and run down to a storm sewer here, and that's hooked up to the storm basin over here, and pretty soon all that salt water runs into the same location, and they can take their test at that location, and it'd probably really shock you. Where we have it here, you know if you had enough salt on the ground when all the grass dies or your tree dies or something like that, then you know you had enough salt.
Actually, salt does good things for greening up plants and stuff to some degree.
To some degree.
And so, but people
everything in moderation.
You don't even think about the amount of salt that goes to a water conditioner.
Exactly.
Okay, a pound per refresh. That's a lot of salt. And nobody even thinks about the fact that that's in our water softeners going into our water, into the septic system and flowing out into, but yet they're attributing that all to road salt, versus other salts versus other heavy metals, because their way of measuring is to put a device in the stream to test conductivity. Well, conductivity is a measurement of the dissolved minerals, not necessarily salt. You might have magnesium, you might have iron, you might have all kinds of dissolved minerals in the water, and they're testing conductivity, not necessarily dissolved salts. And so anyway, I don't want to get into a whole bunch of discussion around
Good to know,
science,
though. Thank you.
but let's have a conversation about that, because I'm a little concerned about what I'm hearing there. They're creating a master plan, which is going to be part of a bigger master plan for transportation, and they're tying transportation to water, air quality. And so, just something from an awareness standpoint yet. So, thank you for that. So, do we need to have a motion or something?
We need to read
This is
12.
an awareness thing.
The Soil and Water Conservation District and the county engineer are requesting the board review and acknowledge the Geauga County 2014 Ohio EPA NPDES Phase 2 Small MS4 General Permit Annual Report.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. A lot of work in that.
Thank you.
This is my first 3 months here.
I know.
I'm doing the next two on behalf of Linda. Number 13 is just a very minor salary adjustment. There was an individual that was hired back in July, and for some reason, the stated rate was $12.60 an hour, but in actuality, grade 6 probationary rate, the correct rate is $12.64. So we have to make a, and this is a correcting motion, and make a minor adjustment in the individual's pay to make it right with them.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board amend the motion from July 29th, 2014, correcting the rate of pay and to reapprove hiring Michael K. Chachby to the position of part-time driver in 2210-1 to be effective August 3rd, 2014 at a rate of $12.64 per hour. After the successful completion of the 1,000-hour probationary period, the rate will increase to $13.30 per hour.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
And number 14 is just to correct some slightly inconsistent language in our policy manual. So this is just a language, minor language change to make it consistent.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and adopt the updated Family Medical Leave Act FMLA designation notice employer response to employee form in the Geauga County Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual to be effective March 24th, 2015.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Hello? Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, before that, I just wanted,
Sorry.
this is regarding the Geauga Growth Partnership, just so that we don't, my only concern is yesterday someone contacted me, must have seen this on the agenda, and the question came up, and I don't know if we could get some kind of answers on this. This is like a list of something that somebody actually had dropped off to me yesterday. And their concern is, you know, on a number of these that they circled is, you know, Catholic Charities in Geauga County, we have a certain level of contribution to a lot of these organizations. Geauga County, its Educational Service Center, the Women's Safe, United Way, the Township Association, the Sheriff's Office, Habitat for Humanity, the Commissioner's Office, and they said that this wasn't a complete group of this, and to be quite honest, I've really never really paid too much attention to this, you know, as far as
Who was a member or who was supporting?
yeah. But the big concern is that it's almost like if we did this too, it's almost like we continue to fund a lot of these organizations with dollars for programs and stuff, and it's almost like we're doubling up.
No, that's not how it works. Those are members of the organization.
Okay.
They all pay dues.
Right.
The same organization. The organization puts on trainings and works with people to try to bring new businesses to the area, one, and retrain displaced workers, and we had they had the internship program that where there were a couple of internship programs around the county, and they provide guidance and training and job opportunities for the youth. And basically what my understanding of that is that everybody that's in there, I mean, if our money doesn't, what our donation does is it helps the growth partnership achieve their mission, which is jobs.
Oh, no, I get you.
Okay,
I see
okay.
what you're saying. The concern and the thing that kind of made me uneasy once I started looking into this is that we have dollars from the commissioner's office. Like, for example, like they've got the sheriff's department on here. That we basically, we have, you know, if
we fund the majority of the sheriff's office.
Right, we fund a lot of these other organizations, and then they're also funding that, and then, whereas like I think that, you know, and this is just me speaking, is that it's almost as if, you know, we can't necessarily tell the sheriff's office or tell the United Way or some of these other organizations that are here, and this I don't think is the full list, but it's we fund them, and then they are doing with their money to fund those organizations, and it's almost a situation where we're paying twice.
You think you're double paying?
Do you follow what I'm saying? Just because that, and I never really looked at it till
And I don't know what those people pay. Not everybody pays the same amount.
It's based on gross sales.
Oh.
That's what their rate is.
So like, I know that we pay 2,500, and let's say, for
Which is
example.
based on the general fund budget.
Okay, and then like the sheriff's office would pay how much?
I don't know, I actually don't know.
But you
I
see
don't
what
know.
I'm saying?
I have no idea without knowing. You'd have to talk to somebody over there and get an exact figure for
Right.
each one of those.
Because that was my only concern was that, and I never really, you know, and I never really, the question never came up, and I think that when Christie put this on the agenda yesterday, somebody actually showed up at my office yesterday and brought me this, and they're saying, you know, and I think that Geauga Growth does a good job. I mean, I've seen some of the training programs that they put on, and, you know, and Frank Samuel, you know, bless his soul, I mean, I think that he was very passionate in what he did, and he always, you know, we went down to that shale thing down in Carroll County with him, and there's a lot of good stuff. It never was presented to me like this, as this had shown up yesterday, saying you're double funding this because you're giving this money out to your different departments or agencies, and then they're making the decision to also contribute, and now you're contributing on top of that again. So it's almost like, I think it is a valid point, and it's something that we've got to, you know, look at, and it's hard. It's almost like, you know, do we look at all the dollars that we put out to these organizations, you know, and then all of a sudden we're coming back with another dollar figure. And it was interesting to hear how this was, because I never thought of it like this at all. You follow what I'm saying, or no?
I know what you're saying. I actually have additional information. As everybody knows, I like to do some homework, so I've gone over and I've sit down with Tracy and had a conversation with him about the objectives and the goals of growth partnership.
I've got these.
I've met with a number of local businesses, and I've seen the outcome of some of the decisions on the growth partnership. And I think everybody agrees that we want to promote business in Geauga County, and a lot of what the growth partnership does education-wise is a very good thing. But some of what I've heard and seen are as follows, and so I'd be a little bit concerned that we've somehow, as a county political organization, is maybe adding influence or some bias into the system. I want to support a lot of the good things that they're doing. There's some things that I wouldn't agree with, and I'll give you an example. They were supporting this rezoning in Bainbridge in opposition to a local business owner, I mean, to a property owner. It would have put the property owner at a disadvantage. I didn't like what I was seeing there in terms of that particular effort. I've heard from two businesses, happen to both be Amish businesses, that they felt a little bit, I'm looking for the proper term, that the growth partnership was a little over aggressive in terms of seeking funding from them to become a member, which concerned them because they didn't know if that would put them at a disadvantage relative to other businesses that happen to be members of this, of the growth partnership. And so, you know, some of what I'm hearing kind of gets me to the point where I'm inclined to say we should probably keep an arm's length, support them to the extent that we can, and all the positive things that they're doing, and you know, because we all want, there's a lot of good businesses that are part of the organization and so forth, but in terms of actually contributing dollars into an organization that might do something that we don't agree with, I'm not sure that I'm comfortable with that.
And I think that was the other statement that the individual made yesterday, is to say this is like a private entity that's kind of, you know, and I applaud them, and that's one of the things that I had the conversation with Frank Samuel, you know, a number of times, is that, you know, it was an organization that was supported by businesses, and it's not, you know, there's no government involvement in it, and they said, you know, but all of a sudden, you know, they said, look at all these agencies that are tax dollars going into it rather than the business stuff, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, to be quite honest with you, I was a little bit blindsided with this yesterday when she came in, and then I started looking at this, and I just don't know sometimes, I guess, enough about this to really make a good, sensible decision of moving forward. But the concerns are obviously, you know, valid if we're putting dollars into these organizations and doing this. And I don't know about the other stuff of what they're doing with the zoning issues. I don't have to stay on top of that
I
stuff.
was at the same meeting that Skip was at, and he's partly right, but he's kind of misrepresenting a few things that happened at that meeting. There, in Bainbridge, Cedar Fair, which owned Geauga Lake and SeaWorld, has a large parcel of land. And it is zoned. It's zoned for recreational use.
Okay.
So if they have someone else that wants to just jump in and buy all that land and start an amusement park or something, it's zoned correctly. They have no zoning that allows that property to be used for something else. And the whole process, which is something that we don't necessarily concern ourselves with, it's the Bainbridge trustees who write their zoning codes and vote on it, was one that this group and others and we should be interested in seeing that that's rezoned responsibly to multi-use zoning, where they can put some residential areas in, some commercial areas, and so on. There was no one there at that meeting that I'm aware of from Cedar Fair that was objecting to this. In order for Cedar Fair to sell this piece of property, something has to take place. The idea, as I heard it, and as I believe these other people are involved, is something responsible take place.
Responsible in whose view? I mean, you don't notice that there is a lawsuit on the part of Cedar Fair right now to the zoning operation.
Yeah.
And so the point that I was trying to make earlier, and again, I don't want to take any shots at Geauga Growth Partnership. I think it's a great organization doing some good things. But I don't know that we as a government organization, first of all, should be using tax dollars to contribute to that directly. And we don't want to get in the middle of something should they make a choice. And now they've been involved, and I didn't know this until after that planning commission meeting. When I talked to Tracy, they were a part of helping to guide that zoning rules. Now, that property was zoned commercial and recreational.
CR.
And that's right. And so the landowner wasn't going out and asking for a zoning change. The government decided they wanted a zoning change. If I'm a landowner, I don't want the government changing my zoning out from under my feet. I want to be able to have a choice with my private property that I own. It's a big chunk of property. And so I might work with the local community to seek the zoning that's appropriate and for the best use of that particular property. So the point that I'm trying to make is, I don't know what's right and what's wrong in that. It didn't seem, you know, multiple use zoning, okay, I mean, I could go with that, I guess.
So who's getting sued?
I'm not sure, but the point is, we need to stop that discussion and go on with what, item 15. Are we gonna do this or not? I mean, read the thing, read it, and we'll run it through its course.
I would say read it then.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board discuss the 2015 membership in the Geauga Growth
Oh, wait a
Partnership
minute.
and the dues in the amount of
Wait.
$2,500.
We had a question.
Ven Paletto, Chester Township. I'd like to know, is Geauga Growth Partnership considered a nonprofit organization?
It is a nonprofit organization, I believe.
It is or it is not?
It is.
Yes.
It
It
is
is.
a nonprofit?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
I
501c3.
wasn't sure. Thank you.
Back to 15, I make the motion.
Second,
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
just based on some of these uncertainties, I'm gonna say no.
Commissioner Claypool?
And I'm gonna say no.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board appoint Kathy Cotman to the Planning Commission to fill the vacant position of Margaret Mueling for a three-year term ending December 31st, 2017.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board appoint a member to the Planning Commission to fill the vacant position of Tracy Engel for a three-year term ending December 31st, 2017.
In this regard, and Christie just motioned to me to make a comment, I do have 4 names of Amish individuals. I haven't got a chance to reach out to them, and I'll forward them to each of you for your consideration.
I just
So
talked to Dave yesterday to be able to pass it on, that I've also got one that's in Kentucky that'll be back. What did I say, was he coming back Thursday?
I thought so, yeah.
And so we can just, and then, you know, we said you'd come in and talk to Blake and talk to you too, and then we could just try to decide that. I think that would probably be a good idea to have just some
My
representation.
question, because you two are gonna do what you want, but my question is, what the objection was to reappointing the gentleman that's on there? Tracy Engel. Did he do a bad job? Did he do something incorrectly? What's it, you just wanna change for the sake of change?
I'd like to see, at least from my perspective, some more diversity on that planning commission, and there is no Amish representation on that planning commission. And yet, a lot of the decisions that are being made, and I can give you a couple of examples, are impacting the Amish community. I think that they ought to have a representative on there. And so that's one of the objectives that I'd like to see on it. It's just my thought, so.
Well, okay, I mean, I have nothing against having an Amish representative on there. I do have a little bit of a problem with, by virtue of this whole process, it appears that we're dissatisfied and throwing this guy under the bus, who I don't even know him.
Yeah, I don't know him either.
I don't know him, but it's like all of a sudden, well, he had the misfortune to have his term expire when all of a sudden we want to do social engineering at this table. And that's all I, you know, at this point in time, we're not going to do anything with this because to appoint a member, well, we don't have a member to appoint. So at 17, we can't make a motion.
Right.
No, can't we?
So,
Look at the
I mean, we've had a
applications of what you
discussion.
No, in my position on that, Blake is I don't know her either. I don't know Tracy, so I'm not sure. But I think that at the end of the day, I think that I agree with trying to get some representation on there, and it's something that actually we had talked about, probably 2.5 years ago, that we would have loved to have had somebody that was representing the Amish community to just try to give some diversity there too.
What?
You know, part of the challenge that I've had, generally speaking, with the planning commission that I've attended for a few years, even though it wasn't a commission, is that we've had some of the same people promoting some of the same kinds of things within the county. Now, I can tell you, within Chester Township, I am upset when I look at the Chester zoning. And so I'm communicating that to my township trustees. It's overly burdensome and complex, and it needs to be reviewed. I'd like to have it reviewed by some fresh eyes. That was my suggestion for choosing Kathy Cotman I happen to know her, I've read her resume, I know her background, I know that she's got a fresh set of eyes, she knows zoning really well. I'd like to see, you know, another, again, just a fresh look at things. We don't need the same people always being reappointed to these boards and getting the same outcome constantly.
I can appreciate that. My problem with this whole process is that replacing people just to replace people is a dangerous road to go down without knowing whether or not the gentleman or the member that we're going to replace, they may be one of the good guys. They may be one that, you know, just because the way the planning commission, it's like anything else, they vote on it. So if they go down a path, that doesn't mean that everybody on there thinks the same. I just.
And I do. I think you make a valid point. I do. I think that the unfortunate situation is that it's hard. I mean, it's almost like, you know, you look at like term limits, you know, to give people new opportunities to be involved too. It's just, it's like a catch-22, and you're right about that. I mean, it's like you do you know, somebody could do a lot of good and they're doing a good job, and I understand that, but we never then give somebody else an opportunity, and that's what's tough, unless we added more members, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, but just to replace somebody because they've been there for a while,
Yeah.
and it kind of makes the assumption or draws the conclusion that we want to replace this person because they weren't efficient on the job, so we'll replace them with someone who we have no idea how they'll perform on the job until they are in the job, you know? I mean, it's the same as any of these positions.
I think too that brings up a good point as far as some of these terms, and I don't know, this may be a question to ask, you know, to ask Jim Flays on if there is an actual statute that we can't limit the number of terms, but maybe if it was a situation
the duration
like,
of the term.
Yeah.
Like if,
Well, the duration of the term I think is set, but the number of terms I don't think there's.
you know, like for example, like mental health is established in the Ohio Revised Code that a member can only serve for X number of terms for X number of years if they were put in midterm like if they had, say somebody stepped down and they were brought in and they could have serve up to X number of years, and so that they pretty much know at the end they're done. And maybe that's something that if that's not established based on Ohio Revised Code of stating that can't be possible, maybe we can even say, okay, if we said that it's Kathy Cotman, listen, you know, you're only eligible for 2 terms, so you understand coming into this is what you've got, and then we've got to give somebody else an opportunity, because I agree with Blake. What he's saying is all of a sudden, Tracy, she's gonna feel like we've basically, or he, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I did the same thing.
So he's gonna feel as if,
He's being
something
picked on.
is
Yeah,
wrong.
he did something wrong, and he may
That's
not
not
have.
it. It just, I think that, so maybe we need to look at that so that there's not an issue of,
Well, let me jump on you here a little bit, and I appreciate the points that you're making, Blake. I really do. I mean, and I think this is a healthy conversation to have. But we can see what has happened on that board. You see, and I attend the meetings, and so I see the reaction around that table. I know, from my perspective, Blake, you're more than welcome, and I encourage you to bring people to the table, bring their resumes, I'll look at them. I've talked to everybody, with the exception of Tracy and Margaret, because I know Tracy, or I don't know Tracy particularly. Margaret I do know. And the outcomes and what I see, the interaction that I see at that board table, I don't like. I want to change that interaction. I want people who are going to be engaged, asking questions, involved, and realize that it's the board that's in control, not the president of the board, not Dave Dietrich, who happens to be our county planning guy. We need somebody who's a check and balance in the system so that we can get better decisions out of that board. And so, yeah, sometimes you have to refresh the tree in order to get some better outcomes. Because, mental health board is another example. We've got people who we've appointed, the county commissioners, not me personally, but the county commissioners have appointed board members, and I don't think that they understand what their jobs are. and nobody's ever sat down with him and said, this is your job. Jim Adams works for you. You don't work for Jim Adams. And it's your responsibility. It is your fiduciary responsibility to ensure certain outcomes for the citizens, because we put you in that seat for a particular reason. And so at least that's my mindset. It's one opinion, one thought. I would encourage you to bring people. We'll have the discussion, the debate. That's what we're sitting at this table for.
I agree with most of what you said, except for one statement, which was we want to get better outcomes. And that's very objective?
Subjective.
Subjective.
Okay.
I mean, it's better outcome in your opinion, not necessarily a better outcome for the general public or the welfare of the county or something else. And I'm just saying that I don't know that that's how you feel, but that's how it sounds.
Well, I mean, I can only judge by if I look at Chester zoning and I look at how complex it is and some of the stuff that's in there. I want a better outcome in Chester. Now, the townships get to choose their own zoning. The planning commission does not dictate to the townships. But they do provide some guidance, they do provide some influence, they do provide some help in helping to adjust those. And so all total, we might have a better discussion and dialogue with fresh minds that are in there, and they want to be able to bring up some new ideas and new thoughts. And I think it would improve the situation, not degrade it.
Again, my point is on Chester Township, or any township, I live in Hamden, any of the places, a regulation that I may think is ridiculous and infringing on my rights, my neighbor may think is wonderful. Mm-hmm. And so therein lies the problem, is who defines what's right?
Well, it is through robust conversation and debate that we get to the right answer. When everybody rubber stamps decisions at the table, we don't get to the right answer. I'm so fed up with rubber stampers sitting at the tables. I go to the NOACA meetings. I might just as well, you can count it. And Blake, I applaud you. Blake was standing there saying no at the last NOACA.
I got a roll call vote.
That's right.
The first one ever, I got a roll call.
It was the most.
Put it on the record.
It was the most robust discussion. We lost, but it was okay. We had a debate.
But it's on the record now, how everybody voted.
I got a roll.
People might be able to see
a little accountability
a little
there.
different thought process. We might be able to get some seeds planted. So anyway, that's my thought. We don't need to belabor this.
Well, let's.
Comment.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
You go ahead.
Okay, I have a question. How long, has Tracy Engel served on the board already?
Yes.
And how long?
No, that's a good question. And to be
Don't
fair
know.
to Tracy, I'm going to reach out to him and have a conversation because I wasn't.
Okay. Oh, another question. Are these positions paid positions?
No, they're volunteer.
Okay.
Go ahead, Paul.
I just want to remind that the only thing constant is change, and that's for the entire board. The only thing constant is change. We all have to take note of that.
Dal?
I don't know anything about this gentleman, but you know what, if he's been there a long time, and you keep on reappointing this person because he's had experience or whatever, then no one else in the community could ever have, served the county. Because you keep on reappointing the same people.
Right, and that's why.
And secondly, Blake, you said, well, you don't know, you know what this guy is capable of, but we don't know what the next person is. Well, you could say that with any of you up there. When we elected you, how do we know how you turned out?
Exactly. And I do not know. If I said that, I don't, when I said we know what this guy's capable of, I don't know. He has a record. He's voted on things, he has a record. So when I say we know what he's done or he's capable of, that is not a endorsement or a condemnation. He has, he's been there, and there must be some paper trail, voting trail, whatever, to what he stood for or what he believed in.
But let's say he was there for 12, 15 years.
He wouldn't.
I don't know, but let's say this gentleman wants to serve his county too, then he'll never have an opportunity then.
One of the things I was going to say is something that might make sense for us to think about is because of the time factor that's involved with our night meeting on Thursday nights, is why don't we look to combine that meeting with our night meeting? Because the concern with the night meeting is, I've always asked, and I've been told because of the people that are on that board work, so they do it in the evening. And the problem is that it's hard sometimes for the public, sometimes generally if they don't show up for that meeting. Those meetings usually aren't super lengthy meetings. Why don't we look to maybe try to connect their meeting on our meeting on Thursday?
Well, I don't disagree with that, other than that's the day after tomorrow.
No, I'm not saying for now.
Okay, not
But
this Thursday, Thursday.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm just saying.
I was
if
thinking
we-
you were
if
thinking
we
about the day after tomorrow. I'm thinking, I'm not sure I can make it.
No, so, you know what I mean, and then we could basically say, we could have that, because, she brings up a good point, and you do, everybody's got a good point here. And I don't think we're trying to throw anybody under the bus. It's just, what I think we need to have is a little more exposure, is being transparent with some of that, and if we could maybe connect that with our meeting, and I understand if we have to close off our meeting and start the planning commission meeting, that we would then be able to kind of and there would possibly be a little bit more interaction too for the general public and also for us to be able to have more of a public ability of participating. I know that they're able to do it now too, of going over there, but if we can try to establish that, that might be a win-win, because then
I think it's worth exploring whether or not we can work out the
Yeah.
details of something like that. At the end of the day, the hope is that everybody wants to make the county better.
Right.
And make the system work better and so on. That's the that should be the goal. That should be the thing that we were trying to get. How we get there and whether or not I don't know. There's I don't even know how many total people are on that board.
Which one?
The planning. You got it there, don't you, on your chart?
I think there's 8.
8?
Including the 3 commissioners.
Yeah, the decisions are being made.
Including
It's not
or-
like- It's like,
No, I think
we're not holding things up.
3 of you were on the
There's
commission, so there's...
There's 8 members and then 3 commissioners.
And the 3
Oh,
commissioners.
8 and the 3, okay, so
Okay,
it's
so
11.
it's 11. Yeah, it should be. I would think they'd want an odd number in case we ever have a tiebreaker.
We're not holding up business because we don't have personnel, but in order to move on, I'll
Yeah.
reach out to Tracy to at least be fair. I'll send you the names of the Amish guys that I've been given, and we can compare notes, and we'll pick one and we'll move on.
Yeah, this shouldn't stop the business of the county.
Yeah.
Do you have applications or resumes for these gentlemen that?
No, I'm gonna be asking them, call them. I've got their numbers, I gotta call them.
And Ralph's got another one coming
Yep.
too.
Okay, so once those come in or whatever, you give
Yep.
it to me, then I'll route them to.
Okay, so now we go to 18, right?
Yep.
And just for public awareness, because probably somebody's going to leave here because we're going into executive session shortly. Thursday night, we're having a meeting, and I think all the commissioners are up on this. Bob Weisdeck, our health department director, is going to come in and talk about septic systems. We're he's looking right now to bring in some actual septic system installers to have a robust conversation. That might lead to another future meeting, which is a little bit more public and a little bit more robust. John Eklund has put a bill into the Senate, if he hasn't already, I think he has. And Bob has some thoughts on that. Because of the importance of this particular issue, I think everybody needs to be aware of what that's all about, what the state is saying, what John Eklund's put in there, so we can all weigh in. This is the way our system works. If we want an outcome, we're going to get the best outcome if we're all engaged and involved. So.
The John Eklund is in partnership with Brady Cafaro, who has the 5 townships in the northeastern section of the county and the city of Chardon, and I'm under the impression that Sarah LaTourette and John Patterson are writing a companion bill for the House. I'm not sure of the status of that. I have initially heard, and I don't even know if it's been submitted, that on John's bill, the Senate bill, there was some language that troubled someone. I've got a copy of it, I have not studied it. It would be nice if there are issues that are glaring, if we could get that included in Sarah's and John's proposal with the House, and then apparently they all go into a room and hash that out.
Yeah, I talked to Sarah yesterday. She said they were holding off until they saw how John's bill was gonna go.
Yeah.
I talked to John about what Bob's input was on that bill. They differ a little bit attitude-wise, or, item-wise on that. And so we might be able to adjust that bill as it's going through the Senate committee process and so on and so forth. But that's the reason for having conversation. We shouldn't
So
be
there's
doing
a
this in
difference in
person.
those opinions?
Well, I don't think the senators disagree. I think what happened was the language was written that if the system is broken,
Failed.
Just failed.
The term's failed.
failed, and people wanted it included that if it could be repaired, not replaced, but repaired, that would be.
See, they're lumping in just a malfunction
Yeah.
with a system that's beyond repair.
I see, so.
They're lumping them together,
so
they're
what
really
you're
not
saying is
differentiating.
It failed because of this, and
Say a
this, but if
component
we
broke.
repaired this, say they had a broken line or
Distribution
something,
box.
whatever,
Right.
then they can fix it and
And
it
it
would
would work
pass.
fine.
Well, the issue
distribution
gets to be
boxes,
the
I break
wording of
those
the
all
bill,
the
just
time.
just to clarification. The language of the bill says you've got to keep a failure rate of 90% or better. If you go below that, then you have to go back to the state solution. Well, you might have a system that puts you into that state solution, even though it wasn't really a failure, it was a repair needed. And so,
So they're saying if it fails, then you need to replace the whole system?
Well,
Yeah,
no, they're
no,
saying,
yes.
they call failure anything that causes the system not to meet spec, and it could be a fairly minor repair.
Ah.
And the criteria
I
is
see.
once your failure rate goes above 10%, oh, now you gotta
now
go to the state
everybody's
system.
got to go to the state system,
Yeah.
not just that one place, but we all as a county get
Right.
thrown into the state
I
system.
see.
And so we're very sensitive about how do you define failure rate, and how do we mitigate that so that we're not all impacted by one or half a dozen people whose systems may be repairable, but they're being classified as a failure.
Well, that Henning
So-
Drive issue would cause a problem.
Yeah. So, I mean, all of that
When
is
they're
being hashed
114,
out.
116,
I
something
know,
like that.
I know John is trying to do the right thing. I mean, everybody here involved is trying to do the right thing. They got different perspectives on it. And I think this is a healthy discussion for everybody to be involved with, because this is gonna impact everybody. And we've got folks downtown in Nowaka who are trying to help to define what the outcome is gonna be for us, which we need to be aware of, so. Anyway, with that said, I just wanted to let everybody know here, Thursday night, get people there, 6:30 at the Building 8. And so, we're gonna go into executive session. Do we need to read that?
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board move into executive session for the purpose of discussing the compensation of public employees.
Make that motion.
And we're expecting action when we come out?
Probably.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler? Commissioner Claypool?
And I may be in there for part of it, maybe not all of it.
Ready?
Go.
Okay. Return from executive session at what?
11:38.
11:38.
All right. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve a general single-step increase for eligible non-bargaining unit employees under the hiring authority of the Board of Geauga County Commissioners, with the exception of the Department of Job and Family Services, effective with 2015 payroll number 7. This increase does not currently apply to unclassified employees with under 6 months of service. This increase does not apply to employees serving a probationary period until the satisfactory completion of their probationary period.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
All right.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve a merit increase for Linda Verhenne to grade 15, step 4 on the Geauga County Executive Pay Table, effective with payroll number 7.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
All right.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve a merit increase for Anita Stocker to grade 15, step 9 on the Geauga County Executive Pay Table, effective with payroll number 7.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
That's it for general business, right?
That's
General business, for a meeting perspective, Commissioners meeting 6:30 this Thursday, Board of Revision meeting on the 30th, regular session the 31st, State Auditor's pre-engagement meeting, the 31st, not sure what that is, Child Abuse Prevention the 1st, Commissioners hold regular session the 7th, Township Association dinner in Ledgemount School cafeteria on the 8th, NOACA External Affairs Committee, yee-hee, the 10th, and the Policy and Planning on the same day, regular session the 14th, Commissioner session the 14th, what is that, Commissioner, oh, the Planning Commission on the 14th, and then the County Budget Summit, which is gonna be at the 30 Building 8 on the 15th.
What's that state auditor's?
The pre-engagement meeting, this is every year, you know, the county is audited every year by the auditor of state. And there's always a meeting that the auditor's representatives have with the commissioners. And it's not open to the public, they just basically, they'll sit down and say, this is what
We
we're
know
gonna
a time?
It's immediately after session is over in the meeting room.
Okay.
It's here.
Okay, so the time is fluid.
It's fluid,
When
depends
we,
upon
when
when you're
we
done.
call session, we walk in there. All
Does the
right.
state, does that fall under the sunshine law? How do we
It's
get away
it's
with
an
it?
exception from the.
It's
an
in the
exception.
ORC that
It's an
you are allowed
allowable
to do
exception.
Okay, it's in the RSC.
6 or so.
I don't wanna violate that.
No, you're good.
I don't even think, if I remember right, I don't even think we talk. I think they just,
They just usually.
the guy from the
decide.
state just gives us information and,
Well, you ask questions sometimes, but yeah, and usually Frank Lee is here as well.
it's their meeting.
And Heidi usually sits in, and Ron Lighty sits in.
Yeah,
And
it's their meeting.
Caroline usually comes from the treasurer's office?
No.
No, this is
She's
the
part of that.
other one,
No.
okay.
Just the others.
All right, if
Okay,
there's
well,
nothing
thank
else,
you,
I
adjourn.
move to adjourn.
Second?